Hi everyone, and welcome to the review of the NZSX 50. And the normal housekeeping that we have to do is remember that this is for educational purposes only, certainly not intended for personal financial advice. For that, you need to go and talk to your own financial advisor. Right, let's take a look at the performance of the main board for the New Zealand Stock Exchange for last week. Okay, as you can see here, I've got the gross index on my screen for the NZSX 50. Now, I am recording this on Monday morning, so the market has just opened. So you can see here that this week already, we're down about $28 or 0.22%, and that's the little red candle you can just see on the very right of my screen. But apart from that, we did close up last week on a positive week, which was really good, and it's taking us back to the highs of around 12,800. So that's a couple of times in the last 3 or 4 weeks that the market has closed at that levels, which if you've been a regular follower of this podcast or this review, you will see that this is sort of the highs, most recent highs of the New Zealand Stock Exchange, not within the last 5 years, but certainly within the last 3. And we'll go on to the 5-year chart in a minute. So what can quite often happen is you get a little bit of nervousness. People will quite often start to get a little unsettled when they can see that the shares or market is at a previous high, and quite often you will get that sell-off, which we saw a couple of weeks on. Then you'll get other investors coming in and wanting to buy those dips, and they of course drive that market higher, and that's what's taken it back up. So it's formed what we refer to as a line of resistance. So that means that there's sort of this resistance line coming across at that 12,800 point value, and it means that that's where that nervousness is. Now, if it can break through that, highly likely the market will continue in an uptrend. I'm not giving forward forecasts or making any sort of predictions, but that is quite often what will happen. You'll see the market have a little bit of toing and froing at around that all-time high, and then if it can burst through again, then you will see, like I say, the market continuing. Let's have a look at the 5-year chart. And like I've pulled up before, in the last 5 years, the high was reached here back in January 2021 at about 13,500. So we haven't got to that yet, but we're getting close, which is great, and that's really exciting. Right, we'll just go back to the 2-year, and I'll just run my indicators over it as well. So we want to put across the 30 exponential moving average, and it's a 30-week. You can see here that we're trading above that, and that's a very, very good sign. And like I say, just that minus, we're only about an hour or so into the open. I'm not sort of getting too concerned, because I only look at these on a weekly basis, so it doesn't worry me too much what's happening. And here we go, we've put the 15-week moving average on, and it's trading well above. It crossed over, and I've said this before, in January earlier this year, which is a great sign. And you can see that the market has obviously had a good run up. We've gone through that sideways patch, then we've had a good run up, a very strong run up, in fact, from about July this year. And now we've just sort of hit those topping periods. Now, what's also happened is it's allowing these moving averages to catch up, which can be a good sign. Okay, and that's why I'm quite positive on the New Zealand stock market. If I look further down, some of these other indicators, the average true range or the ATR, yes, that's sloping down, but what that's meaning is that there's less volatility in the market. Okay, so that too is a very, very good indicator. Right down the bottom, I've got the RSI, which is the relative strength indicator, and that just indicates to me whether the market is being overbought or oversold. And it's not at the overbought stage. It is a little bit higher, but it's certainly not at that overbought stage. Not sure if you can see, but there is a line here at about the 70 mark, which is the overbought level. If it gets through that, then it is overbought, which means that there is a lot of people buying. Doesn't necessarily mean it's a negative, just means that if it's up at the overbought stage, means there's a lot of buying interest, which again is what we're wanting, because if there's a lot of buyers in the market, that is obviously what's going to drive a market up. And then the last one I've got in the middle here is the moving average convergence, divergence. And both of the lines, if you like, are my normal moving averages. So we've got the 15 and 30 period moving averages, and they are both positive, which is great. Down the bottom here, it is the volume. It's just crossing it over with the volume. So we're sort of seeing a little bit of that volume coming down. Again, that's not concerning me too much for the fact that the New Zealand market is really very small, but everything is pointing up. If these indicators were starting to slope down, like they did here around August 2023, then as you can see, looking at the chart in that period, the market came down. So that's where, yes, it is a cautionary sign. But at this stage, everything in my view is certainly looking positive. I'll just stop sharing. Now, hey, if you're getting some value from this, I'd really appreciate some feedback. Obviously, like, subscribe, and it helps me create some more content in that for you. And also remember, once a week I do a share trading signal service. It means that all I'm doing there is looking through just the top 50 companies on our main board and just giving you an idea as to any potential buys, sells, or even stop loss movements that I'm using on my own portfolio. It's not specific to you, but it's hopefully just cutting down the noise as to what stock selection could perhaps be looking at. And I'd love it if you wanted to come over and subscribe. It's free for the first 30 days and yeah, see what you think. So have a great day, and come back on Thursday because we're going to look at Vulcan Steel for our share and review. So thanks very much.